All right. Sarah Pierce, we are live. Back on the Rise and Above podcast. How are you doing today?
Hi, David. I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I'm actually glad that our last recording didn't work out because there was some things I said on there that I was having second guesses about. Or second thoughts about, I should say. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should have said that. But so fate had my back.
Every episode is like that for me. Every episode, I'm like, man, I probably shouldn't have said that. People are going to like write me and get angry.
I know it. Let me share this real quick. I know we're live, but I'm going to try to share this to my big group. Okay. So that people can try to ask us questions. I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. So I have it pulled up. So if people want to comment, they can comment live and we can engage with them.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So it'll show up over here.
Should show up on the screen, but it shows up on my main screen.
Perfect.
Cool.
So what's going on with you?
Oh, not much. I'm currently on strike. As we talked last week when we did the podcast the first time, that it was a possibility that we would go out on strike. Well, they announced on Friday that we were going on strike as of 12 noon Friday afternoon. So we've been on strike since then. And today I had strike duty, which was fun. Took the kids. They had a great time trying to get semis to honk at them. So.
Wow, that's a pretty big deal. Well, good luck with that. I hope everything works out how it needs to.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'm not sure how long you want to go for, but it is 517 Living Community Week. Correct?
It is. We can go. I mean, we can go as long as needed. I mean, it's not like I have that much interesting stuff to say, but I will say, yes, it is. We're in the middle of 517 Living Community Week. So this is a fairly new setup. I originally, several years ago, well, I'll just give everyone a brief summary real quick of what 517 Living is before I dive into it. 517 Living started back in 2014. I started it because I wanted to feel more connected with the greater Lansing area community. I did not feel really very connected with the community at all. I didn't know much about the local businesses or the people behind them. And I felt like I was always kind of out of the loop when it came to festivals going on in the area. And I thought, I'm going to live here, maybe build a family here. I really want to become more knowledgeable about what's available in the greater Lansing area community, get more connected, kind of dig a little deeper, find some of the underground, best hidden secrets and things like that. So I started a Twitter account in 2014. I called it 517 Living, and I just started kind of retweeting local goodness, local events, things like that. And I quickly realized other people were very interested in the same content and were looking for ways to get connected. So I thought, I need to make a main platform that's a little more organized than a Twitter feed. So I made a website, 517living.com. And I thought, there's no way, if I want this to be sustainable, I need to find a way for people to add their own events, because I can't realistically be adding all the events myself. That just doesn't make sense. So I found an app that has a front end submission form and embedded it right on the homepage. So it's a front end submission form community calendar. So people can go there, click a button, add their own events, and it gets organized into the lineup. And then I thought, I don't have much of a marketing budget. What's a really good way that I can get traffic to this website so people can start seeing it? And at that time, Facebook groups were fairly new. In fact, I think it might have been the year that I started 517 Living that Facebook groups launched, but I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember back then, but I started a Facebook group. I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. I just knew that I had to grow it fast to give it some type of legitimacy. And also I needed to start getting people to the calendar so that the people who were adding their events to the calendar were getting the visibility they needed. So I started the group. I started inviting everybody. Was kind of unethical about it in some ways, adding people against their will, which Facebook no longer allows that, thankfully, for people. But I was bribing people with prizes, like, hey, I'm giving away prizes, join my group, just super annoying and spammy. But some people put up with it and joined the group, and some people are still in there. I think the first person who ever posted in my group was Kat from the Lansing Art Gallery. I'm pretty sure I saw one time. She was the first person to ever post in the group. So shout out to Kat. But from that point on, it was just a big learning experience of figuring out how to optimize, social media platforms, drive traffic to the website. And a lot of it was all digital on my part. I was kind of behind the scenes trying to make things work and everything, trying to just figure out basics like graphic design for images and things like that. And I eventually decided, I need to have an in-person meetup for everybody because I'm all about events. I need to host an event. So I got a hold of Henry Kwok, owner of Henry's Place in Okemos, asked him if we could use his back room at his restaurant, which is like beautiful. For me, at an event venue, for me, I need like nice, cozy lighting. Like I'm not one to want to host an event in a fluorescent big like warehouse setting. I want it cozy and comfy. And they obviously have good food and drinks there. So we had a big party there. And that was the kickoff that was 517 Living Community Night. And then I had another one later on. I think it was the following year. We did one there was a restaurant in downtown called Aladdin's. We did one there, and I realized, okay, this is way too small. I need to get a bigger venue. So the next year we moved to Waldemar Nature Center at their barn. That one was probably one of the prettiest events we had because it was lit up with all colorful lights and Christmas lights inside. And there was great vendors, like top quality vendors and music. Mikey Austin performed. There was the ukulele ensemble performed, which is all kids. And the Swift brothers, they were doing their covers and originals. It was just wonderful. I loved it. There was food trucks, kombucha, very cool. So then COVID hit. I had to kind of figure out a new format if I wanted to keep trying to do something like that. So I tried out 517 Living Community Week, which was, I just said, hey, let's just celebrate everything in the greater Lansing area. Everybody, I know a lot of people can't visit your businesses in person, but let's do some online specials. Like if you're selling gift cards or, anything that you can promote, let's do specials and discounts and promote local businesses and like unique experiences. So that was my first attempt at 517 Living Community Week. The next time, and this is all based on my spotty memory, so I might have some gaps in here, but the next time I hosted 517 Living Community Week, things had kind of opened up a little bit. So I did the new format of 517 Living Community Week, and I combined it with an in-person party, the 517 Living Community Night that you were at Hawk Island Park. And that one had great vendors. I partnered up with Live Well, the healing community. So they had a pavilion too, and they were doing wellness activities like meditation, drum circle, auricular acupuncture, really cool stuff. And then in the main pavilion, we had like open mic, and it was just really cool. And there was perfect weather. We had food trucks. And the problem with that though is at that event, I had so many people who I had to turn down because I was running out of space. And I was having really great vendors and musicians and stuff come to me who wanted to be part of it. And I was already full. And I was thinking, this is getting to the point where if I really want to be inclusive, I have to actually adapt a little more and figure out a better platform or a better format. So I came up with the idea that I'm kind of rolling out this year in like beta mode. And I'm hoping it'll, improve and grow and really become kind of a staple on people's calendars that they can count on. Because the plan is to have it the first 7 days of every October. So like first week of October 1st through 7th every year. And the format for this year is I'm invited everyone in the community to host their own event and add it to a lineup of events like festivities for the whole week. So the goal was to have not just me as a event host, but to have several, like the goal eventually is to have like several hundred event hosts hosting special events throughout the week, like concerts, open houses, mixers, special dinners, festivals, whatever. And they're adding it to a lineup of 517 Living Community Week festivities. And then I also added towards the end, hey, and if you want to do anything else in celebration of 517 Living Community Week, do that too. Like offer specials, do unique menu items. I would love it if like a coffee shop would have a special latte for the week, or someone would have a special cocktail or whatever. I'm just like, let's make it a thing where for 1 week of the year, we're hosting a big lineup of festivities that highlight the great things of our community, you know. So that's that's my very long summary of what you asked. Yeah.
There is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Now, when you first started the 517, did you ever anticipate it becoming what it is now? I mean, now you have almost 50,000, or you have over 50,000 people in the group. It's grown exponentially since I've joined. Since I joined, I think you've grown like more than 10,000 people, which is insane. Did you ever imagine that that many people would be in the group?
I think that's like probably the blessing and the curse that I don't really think that far ahead. You know, I just kind of figure it out as I go. I didn't really have any major expectations for it as far as numbers. In fact, I even met with a business coach who I love, Lisa Fisher. If anybody needs a good business coach, check out Lisa Fisher. But she was trying to get me to do that, the goal setting of like, where would you like to be in 10 years with this? Where'd you like to be in 5 years? Whatever. What are the steps you need to take every day to get there? And I'm like, I have no idea where I want this to be in 5 or 10 years. I have no idea. No idea. Because for me, it's kind of like you take each day as it comes, and you have to almost adapt, not on a daily basis, but you continue, like at any time, something dramatic could change on any platform that I use that would completely force me to pivot and go in a completely different direction. Like I'm at the mercy of Facebook, and we all know how volatile, is that the right word? How unpredictable Facebook is. At any time, if they wanted to, which I don't think it would be in their best interest, but if they wanted to, they could just be like, we're shutting you down. You don't get to use our platforms anymore, which actually happened. I got put in like a halfway house, Facebook halfway house during community week. It was actually the day before. And all of a sudden they were like, you're not allowed to share links. And I'm like, that's a problem, because I'm supposed to be promoting a lot of stuff this week. So I found a back alley approach to doing it. But also at any time they could just decide to get rid of Facebook groups. So I just kind of decided to take the approach of, you know, I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm not going to base all my worth on it. If it doesn't work out, fine. But while it's working out, I'm going to try to make it fun for people and try to help support, you know, people who are doing good things in the community and businesses, and get the word out about events. Because I know that since I have been doing 517 Living, it's helped me develop as a person. It's helped me feel more connected with my community, which according to, you know, research, that does wonders for your mental health, which then of course trickles down to every other area of your life. So I'm like, this is a worthy cause. I'm just gonna try to do what I can with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge thing when you have to feel like you're a part of a community, and that's something that you've built, is a community of people. I mean, we were talking last week where it's almost like a town square in a sense, where you know that you can just go there. There'll be people in your community there that you can engage with, talk with, you can promote, you can literally do whatever you want in Lansing. Like, you have literally built one of the most important tools that so many business owners use. I know so many business owners that use it as a source of promotion for their business, and it's free. It's free to everybody.
It is free. And since we're talking about the group, I do want to highlight that there's still so many people in the group who are probably not realizing that their content's not getting seen, because since the group has grown to close to 60,000 members, I've had to put some tools in place to, filter the content. So what I mean by their content might not be seen is they might not have pre-approved posting status. So I just want to say right now to anyone who's listening to this, if you're in the 517 Living Community Facebook group and you want to share content, you first have to get pre-approved posting status in our group. And I did that just to optimize the quality of the content and make sure that the people who are posting in the group are actually intentional and they're trying to actually understand what the group is about and not just spamming and dumping content into the group. So to get pre-approved posting status, can I share a screen on here or not? Does that work?
You can.
Actually, I don't know if I have. Let's see here. I don't want anybody permanently seeing something on my Facebook notifications that I can't hide later. I'll just say this. Go to our featured section or our announcement section. It depends on what kind of device you're on. It's also pinned to the top of our group wall, so you can see it that way too. But I know every device shows things differently. So either go to our featured section, our announcement section, our pinned post, whatever it is, there's a post that says group rules or guidelines, group guidelines, whatever. I should know that. But there's a picture of a green check mark and a red X in the graphic. Read that. And then what I get it. We're blind to content because we are just bombarded with every kind of information these days. But so many people will read the rules and then they'll miss the step that they actually have to comment on that post too. So it says, read these rules, comment on there that you agree to follow the rules. And then once you do that, you can post to your heart's delight. Am I crooked on your soup? Let me fix this.
You're slightly
backwards cameras. Plus my face is crooked and this. Okay. Whatever.
Right, so
here we go. Right here.
Sarah does not like being on camera.
I'm getting better at it. But when I see my face backwards, it takes me a while to get used to it. So read the group rules, comment on the group rules saying, I agree to follow these rules. And once you do that, post away. Once a day, share good stuff.
How does that work? Does it automatically do that once they agree to it? Or do you have to go through and select each person for?
I have to manually do it. So basically there's an option in Facebook groups where you can go find, so I'll go through, I'll see, okay, who commented today? 10 people. Okay. They said, I agree. So I'll click on them and there's an option to give them pre-approved status. You can make them a moderator, make them an admin, or give them pre-approved posting status. If once you change someone to have pre-approved posting status, this is getting so complicated. I think basically my group is set so that no posts go through unless you have pre-approved posting status. You froze up a little. Did I freeze up?
So did you.
Once I give someone that status, they can post all they want once a day. If you don't have that, your post won't be published. It's annoying for a lot of people because they're like, why is my post not going through? But the reason I do that is because, if you look at some of the groups out there today, they're just filled with spam. A lot of them are filled with spam, air duct cleaning posts from there's a weird thing going on where there's a lot of that around. And it's
what is that? Because I have the Rise and Above community group and I get a lot of air duct cleaning scams going on. And then
it's a weird thing. Somebody I know recently looked into it, and it's people from different countries who are somehow, and I don't know how they're benefiting from it because they're doing it for businesses who didn't request it, but somehow they're connecting people. It seems like with real air duct cleaning local businesses who it's weird because I contacted one of them one time. I'm like, you're not local. What's going on with this? And they're like, no, this is my business. It's Amber's Air Duct Cleaning. I'm like, no, I know the owner of Amber's Air Duct Cleaning. You're not them. And they're like, oh, I work for them. No, you don't. I'm talking to them right now. They said they don't know who you are. And it's just, I don't know what they're getting out of it. Somebody probably knows. But why are they sending me to a local business? What are they going to get out of it? I'm not going to give them money. Or I don't know.
Is it something to do with clicks? Maybe they're getting paid to have their stuff seen.
Maybe,
using
because it seems like a lot of spam content out there is just for getting clicks and getting seen. And I don't know exactly what they're getting out of that. Maybe they're like making their account more credible or something. I have no idea. Weird. If somebody knows the real like benefit to these people, I'd be interested in hearing it. I know the information's probably out there. I just need to look it up. But
well, I need to take a thing from you and make my Facebook group pre-approved status. That way I stop getting these scams, because or the spamming. The spamming is insane. It's almost every day, like 5 times a day at least.
yeah. Well, the alternative would be to just only like set it so that it's not open posting. Is that what you're talking about? Like where you want to set it so that everyone has to get published manually by you, or you actually want to give people pre-approved status?
Probably pre-approved status, I would think, right?
Yeah, that either way, yeah, it's gonna help filter out the garbage. Yeah, it's been a bunch of little things like that, which you know, it's just weird things you figure out as you go, and you try it. If it doesn't work out, then you try something else. But I've found that doing the pre-approved posting status has helped make it easier for the people in the group who are actually local and who are actually like making an effort to understand the group, and they're not just using it as a dump site for promotional content, you know, which we're all guilty of. I mean, I'm guilty of being dumpy, spammy, you know. Dumpy,
Me too. Now you have the I would say you probably have the largest Facebook group in the Lansing area as far as like networking and community based.
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of groups out there. I haven't looked at the count of all of them lately. Lansing Foodies is pretty big, but they're really like niche. They're focused more on food.
Right.
I don't, and I think that there's some like marketplace local groups that might be bigger. But I think 517 Living has the biggest like community style group, I think.
Now, have you had any like organizations reach out to you wanting to either buy the platform or want to help you monetize it at all?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. But that's such a complicated thing because I don't know exactly how to place a value. I know there's probably some type of equation that could be put together to be like, well, this is what it could be worth. But I feel like the value of my group is kind of in the values in the eye of the beholder type thing, where it depends on the person what it's going to be worth to them, you know? Because like, does 517 Living make a lot of money? No, but it could to the right person. Or if a person's just looking for power to like have more reach and be attached to the clout of the brand, since it's like kind of recognizable now, that might be really valuable to someone. I would have a hard time detaching myself from it though. And if someone was like, we're going to give you $2 million if you just hand it all over, I mean, that'd be pretty tempting. But if they were like, look, we'll pay you a salary, you keep running it, but we're the boss now and you're going to do it how we want to do it, that would be hard for me, because it's like I either have to have a clean break or nothing, because it would be hard to stay in and not have the freedom to like mess around with it and try organic things and everything.
Right. Yeah, and then you don't want to be under the control of somebody else, because then it kind of takes away the authenticity. It takes away the person behind the whole thing. I mean, because that's kind of been your shtick, is like you've been the person that the no face lady for so long.
The no face lady.
No face lady.
I'm gonna make that my username on everything. The no face lady. It's probably taken. The Wizard of Oz type person behind the curtain. It's definitely become in a way part of my identity. So that would be weird. And if someone was like, hey, you're Sarah from 517 Living, and I'm like, actually, I'm just Sarah now. Like, no more 517 Living. That would be weird, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that would be strange. It would be almost like the Rising Above podcast without me. It'd be like, what? It'd be weird to watch somebody else control it.
Yeah, it would be weird. Anyway, hey, can you see? Should we ask? Can anyone see us right now? Should we ask people if they want to ask questions? Let me go see. I shared it in the group. Let me see if anyone is even seeing it yet. You know how Facebook loves outside links, especially from YouTube. Probably they'll show it to no one. Probably. Let's see.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm looking for it on my own wall and I can't even see it in the group. So thanks, Facebook.
Yeah, I'm gonna
hold on. Let me just search for it real quick. Oh, Kevin Lindsay, thanks for liking it, Kevin. If you're watching it, he's a good supporter. He likes stuff when nobody else does.
I love those people.
All right, let's see here. All right, yeah. I don't see any questions on it. Yeah. I like it when the people are like, yeah, ride or die likers and like, this was super boring content and you liked it. Thanks. Not this, but other stuff. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, the 517 has changed. Well, I mean, it has been the #1 tool for me to kick the podcast off. I think I might have told you before. When I first started the podcast, it was hard for me to find guests, and I would have to try to reach out to people, and I didn't have any credibility underneath my belt because I was just starting, and it was difficult to get people to want to do the podcast, especially in person. But then when I was getting laid off because of like a part shortage at work, and I knew I was going to be off for like 1 to 2 months, and I'm like, you know what, this is my time. And I had just joined the 517 living Facebook group, and I'm like, I'm going to put a post in and see how many interviews I can get people to do. So I put up a post, just something like, hey, I'm looking to schedule people. And then from that moment to this day, I've reached out to a few people, but to this day, I don't really need to reach out to anybody because there's just a constant influx of people wanting to do the podcast, to promote their stuff, to like promote their business, their art, their music, literally whatever it is. And it's honestly changed the dynamic of the kind of interviews that I do, because when I first started, I started as a like wanting to just interview people that were like in foster care, because I grew up in foster care.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of like take that niche a little bit, but then I started interviewing like some local businesses, and then it just kind of became that where I just interview everybody, and it's kind of cool.
How do you feel that your interviewing process has like changed your life, and how has your interviewing process changed in general, you think, since the beginning?
Well, from the beginning, I took more of a dramatic, like if you go back and watch some of the first few episodes, I took a more of a dramatic approach to each episode.
Yeah.
And now I do just like raw content, but I try to make it as, I guess, engaging on my behalf. I try to come up with questions or try to ask interesting questions. So the podcast for me has taught me how to interview, how to talk to people, simply just how to talk to people, because it was difficult for me at first because I mean, I'm a line worker. I work at General Motors. So a lot of times I would just put my headset on and just go about my day. And you start to lose like how to communicate with people, like outside of like just like, hey, how are you doing? Like what's going on type of thing. And you lose like how to ask interesting questions and how to like actually get to know somebody. And by doing the podcast, I've learned how to do that better.
It's such an art, it's like a skill, an art. It is not something that everybody is good at or comfortable, and it takes practice. So that's a pretty cool role that you're in, where you are becoming very strong at conversation and learning how to use, like open-ended questions. And yeah, you've probably figured out just in your own mind, like what gets people to open up more. And what's a tip if someone was going to do a podcast? What's one tip you would give them about conversation?
I would say just be curious, and don't be afraid to ask that dumb question. Like,
Yeah.
I think I remember telling you
Right.
the last podcast we did together last year to promote this event. I had told you I asked the mayor about like what his job was, like what is the job of a mayor, and
Yeah.
I remember he sat across from me and he just looked at me like I was like an idiot for asking that, and I was like, I don't know what the mayor actually does, like,
A lot of
and
people don't. I feel like that's a legit question for a lot of people. Like, because we hear about, yes, this is our mayor, but yeah, what actually, when it comes down to it, what does the mayor do? A lot of people probably wonder that.
yeah, I would hope. Otherwise, I'm just an idiot.
No,
but
you're not an idiot.
But I think that it's important to ask the questions that seem dumb. Even like if you don't know the answer and you're just afraid of looking dumb, then I mean you're kind of doing it for the wrong reason. You want to ask the question that other people might be thinking about.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like I've heard other people who do podcasts say that sometimes even if they do know the answer, they'll ask the question because they know that like a lot of other people don't know the answer and they want them to hear the answer. So you can always just pretend like you really know the answer, but you're asking for the people who all the other people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you absolutely have to do that, and especially like if you know a lot about somebody before you have them on. Like we obviously did this podcast before,
Right.
and
Right.
and so like I knew about all the different things going on, but like I still have to try to figure out like how to ask about it or how to like even have a conversation with you again that seems authentic, even though we
Right.
just talked. So
Right. Well, we started it off on a totally different foot because the other podcast that we did that didn't end up working out, I think we even started it talking about fitness for some reason. And then
okay.
we went on to a completely different path because we also were talking about like celebrity, like Taylor Swift and like Ashton Kutcher and all these things. And somehow like some other things came up off of that, like the cancel culture stuff and people trying to cancel me. And that's the thing, the art of conversation. One topic can take a conversation in a completely different direction, or just one comment, or question. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting. It's like one of those what are those novels they called them, like choose your ending novels, or no, there's a name for them, where you get to a page and it's like, would you do this or this? If you're going to do this, turn to this page. And it's like a new story. Or if you turn to the other page, it's a different story based on what decision you have the character make. What are those called?
I don't know what they're called.
You're younger than I am. I think they were more of a thing when I was a kid, I think.
That is so true though, because I mean, you could have something you want to talk about, but then I say something and then it takes us down a completely different path. And then you just forget about that thing you wanted to talk about. And we just take a whole different angle in the conversation. That's why I love podcasts, because you really get to know somebody and like their interests and the things that they enjoy, the things that they like, their opinions, their thoughts by just talking. And and
was there anything that you found out about me as a person from your interviews that you were surprised to find out? Or that like most people wouldn't know unless they listen to the podcast?
Well, I would first say that you're an extremely nice person. And for anybody who doesn't know you, they should know that you are a nice person, and
I
always
wouldn't say nice. I don't know if I'm nice.
Why wouldn't you say nice?
I think I'm kind. I can be kind, but sometimes being kind isn't nice in my head. How I've come up with, like, I'm like, am I nice? In the past, I would say I was more nice, because in my head, nice is like polite and like, this is my own description I've come up with, I guess, maybe. But maybe other people understand what I'm saying, where nice would be like, oh, sure, I'll do that. Oh, yes. Oh, like, I'm so nice to you right now. I'm not going to make you feel bad. Where sometimes I think being kind does make people feel bad, but it comes from a place of like compassion, where you're like, being kind might be telling people they have a problem. Whereas being nice is being like, oh, well, we won't say that. I don't know. But yeah, I appreciate that. I know what you mean.
Well, I agree with you. I think you're very kind. You're a very kind person and
I try to be
very
kind.
generous with your time.
I try to
Um,
be kind.
I would say one thing that I learned about you, very first thing that I learned about you, the first time I met you, I had this idea that the person that ran the 517 page is probably this old lady who doesn't have a job and sits at home and runs this page.
I mean, that's what probably a lot of people think.
And then
It's pretty accurate. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you showed up and I'm like, wow, this is a young lady, very ambitious. You own your business, your own business. A lot of people don't know that about you. You own a business, and then you also run the 517 page,
Yeah.
which is another business.
That is so funny. I have had people say similar things to that where like sometimes it'll be like they expected me when they met me. I feel like sometimes people expect me to be a very like savvy networky person with like a short blonde bob and like expensive glasses who's like, let me tell you how the Facebook world works, but I'm just not very sophisticated. But it's okay. I'm okay with that.
Well, and that's the thing in today's day and age with technology and the internet. You honestly do not need to know how to do anything. You can learn to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I
You
learned.
just Google everything.
That's how I learned how to do a podcast. I had no idea how to set up the studio at all. And this is probably, I mean, aside from like a radio station, this is probably the nicest it gets. And it feels like a high quality studio. And I think that's one thing a lot of people appreciate about the podcast is coming here and being able to sit in the studio and feel like they're in a space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like sitting on somebody's couch or doing like a live stream, like out of person experience.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good setup that you have down there. And I like that you have your brother helping you out and it's kind of like a comfortable setting. Yeah. And you've got your, what's that thing that you have? The glass.
Oh, the decanter?
The decanter, the
Yes.
AR decanter or whatever that is.
Can this get me demonetized or anything?
Yeah, don't put it on the camera. No, I'm just kidding. It's a very homey environment for sure.
It's an AR-15. I don't know if you like guns or not, but this is a decanter. You put alcohol or whiskey in it, and then you can pour it out.
That is very nifty. I thought I was a whiskey person, but I didn't even realize that you had to use a decanter for whiskey. I thought that was for wine. What is the oh well, we won't get into that. We don't have to get into all the science behind that. But yeah, it's a good environment. And I think that you do have meaningful conversations with people and it helps people get the word out about things in the community. Like I've learned about new businesses from your podcast and things. So it's very helpful. And I know people really appreciate having that extra support when they're trying to do stuff because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of effort to promote stuff,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of exhausting, especially when Facebook platforms and stuff are hiding all your content and you're trying to promote stuff. It's like, well, kind of draining sometimes. So it's nice to have someone in your corner.
Absolutely. When you have somebody else helping share your stuff and willing to promote you, then it kind of helps elevate your business. And other people who aren't within your algorithm will more than likely see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, being a part of the 517 area and being somebody who helps organize all these different, organize the source to where all these different businesses and literally anybody can put events into the calendar. How often do you find yourself getting into the community and going to these different events and making an appearance at these different things in town?
I have. I'll just say that my whole approach has changed a little bit since we've had different kids living in our home. So I tend to gravitate towards more kid-friendly events now. Like, for example, there's a lot of business networking events that I don't go to anymore because it doesn't really feel like I should bring a kid to them. But I would say I get out a couple times a week. I don't overdo it. And I used to try to like pressure myself into going to more stuff and getting pictures of everything and streaming everything. And that was another thing we talked about in the Lost podcast is that like I kind of re-examined my approach to not being so rat racy, just kind of saying, you know what? just because there's, I said, a status quo for Facebook, for social media of, am I using that correctly, of what everybody else is doing. And, you know, there's this image of what we should be doing with social media if we're wanting to do it right. And I'm like, you know, I just need to stop worrying about what everybody thinks I should be doing on social media and what's the right way to use social media. And as far as running a business that promotes events, how many events I should be at. And I'm just going to try to do it in a way that's more natural and authentic. And it's tough because I've been really thinking a lot lately about what am I doing with 517 Living, and what are some ways that I could be doing things better, but not just because that's how people think I should be doing them. Because, you know, I feel like if you look at 517 Living, a lot of people would be like, okay, you've got the Facebook group, close to 60,000 people in it. You're promoting events on a website calendar. What you really need to be doing is have a whole team of people who are out there at the events, getting pictures, doing advertising packages, and posting so many times a day here, so many times a day here. You got to do the reels, you got to do the stories, you got to do this live, you got to do Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you know. And it's just like, yeah, the right person with the right motivation and interests and like cognitive ability could do that. For me, I'm like, that sounds like a nightmare. Like, I know what it is like to manage people and how that is, it's a full-time job to manage people. So if I brought on, this is just my thought process. It's like, if I brought on a team, yeah, Facebook or, you know, 517 Living would start really growing. It would also start becoming tedious for me. I would no longer really feel that joy that I sometimes get from like sitting down with my coffee and just me and my 517 Living, and I can do whatever I want. I don't answer to anybody, well, except for the trolls, you know, but it's like, you know, I can just do my thing. And I have to decide like a good middle ground for making sure that people who are using my platforms are getting the reach that they are looking for, but also not feeling the pressure to turn it into this like corporate money-making machine. But, you know, at some point I probably should bring in interns. And like, I've had a couple people who have helped me kind of like on contract basis, like helping me grow the directory and things like that. And so far, you know, that's been fine. It's been super laid back format. But I was just thinking today, maybe I need to look into an internship program and just figuring out a really simple way to start branching out more, you know.
There should be like a 517 Living podcast.
That's like what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's not 517. It's like everything.
I'll just like go to all the people you've done interviews with and be like, now I'm doing the interview about what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, that would be a natural progression. Like a lot of, you know, the path of what I'm doing, other people in my shoes would, yeah, go on and maybe do a podcast or something.
I mean, because it doesn't even need to be like an hour.
I was just in a meeting yesterday. Oh, sorry, I overlapped you a little bit. I was in a meeting yesterday morning, and there was a guy who was like being helpful with his suggestions. And he was saying, you know, here's what you could do to make money. You need to have a referral program where, you know, we have this club and you could get people to sign up for our club and you could get a kickback and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know, that's a great idea. But for me, what I'm trying to build 517 Living into is a platform where it's allowing people to do that for themselves. Because I'm like, you know, it's going to be much more powerful for you to post to my group and say, I'm a member of this club. Here's all the benefits. This has been my experience. That's going to be more powerful than me, a non-member, promoting membership for your club. Whereas that same thing for you. It's like, you have a great podcast, and I can just value the fact that you're offering a great podcast and I want to help promote that. Whereas just because I think podcasts are great and so, helpful, and you do such a great job. It's not like I'm like, so now I'm going to do a podcast, but just like same thing with, like a TV channel type thing. It's like, I'll promote, I'll be on TV and stuff, but it's like, I don't have the passion to like start my own YouTube channel of my own show or anything,
Right.
But maybe I should. Maybe, that's the thing where I have to decide what are things that make sense.
Or maybe, again, that's part of the team of people that you bring on, where you have somebody who hosts a podcast and then you also have people that do other things as well.
Yeah. That it would be another thing where it would be like, I'm not trying to paint myself as a lazy person, but I think I've been like traumatized by, I've had over 40 jobs in my lifetime. And so I've worked with a lot of different people. And so I know, if I just did it right, the interview process, and got the right person, did like a personality test or something to weed out the, psychopaths or whatever, I'm sure it could be a beautiful process. But I, in my head, imagine it as in, Jessica, she was doing the YouTube channel today and she went on a tangent about such and such, and now we're all canceled. And I'm like, think of the possibilities of if someone went rogue, and that's where my brain goes. So I'm like, it's easier just to do it my own.
I mean, you definitely kind of do that already. Like when you've gone to different businesses and you interview the owner or whoever's in charge, and you kind of have them talk about the event that they're going to be hosting or whatever. That's kind of a podcast.
Yeah, kind of.
It is
in like a very informal way. I wouldn't say. When I think of podcasts, I think like structured, focused, themes, a lineup, episodes.
But this has never been that, though.
I mean, you could really say everything's a podcast then, of like, I did a FaceTime and I don't know. I get what you're saying. I do.
Yeah. I mean, literally anything that's recorded, and I mean, anything can be a podcast. So many people that I know that are actual podcasters literally will just walk around with their phone while they're recording their thoughts, and then they'll like edit it to where it's, chopped up, and then they'll put it together into one episode. Mm-hmm. And then that's a podcast.
Yeah.
And then they just upload it.
I will have to, I'll have to do some thinking on all that. In my head, I'm like, I want 517 Living to be a blank canvas for the community to paint on, where it's like, I put the platform out there, and in a way, instead of having employees, it's like the entire community is on staff, because it's you sharing content. Rachel Greco from Lansing State Journal shares her articles. In a way, you're all my employees. Not really, but you know what I mean? Everyone's bringing their own content. Everyone's adding events to the calendar. And that's why I like the setup of the Facebook group, is there's so many thousands of collaborators that I think, I could bring on someone to do promotional content for the group, or I can just let the whole community promote things and let it work itself out. And if they're not promoting, that's on them.
That's authenticity. I like that.
I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm pretty sure I had a kid over here who just tooted. Sorry, everybody. It wasn't me. I got a 4-year-old over here watching Little Einsteins. Anyway. Yeah. Speaking of topics that take you off. Okay. What's next? You want how much, or let's see, how long have we been going? 3:20. You want to go till, what time did we start?
Cutting out. 2 o'clock or 2:30, I mean.
2:30. You want to go till 3:30? Or
3:30?
3:25?
Oh, yeah. 3:30 works. Or
I don't care.
Sure. I don't care.
Okay, let's do one more topic and then whatever, because you froze up a little bit.
Yes, you just froze up too. Okay. One last topic.
Okay. Is your
Okay.
brother there?
He's
Or not?
not. No, it's
Okay.
just me. Just me.
Okay.
I'm trying to think one last topic. All right. So I guess because this podcast is about you, what would be one thing or two things that you want the community to know about you?
About me. Ooh.
About you.
Hmm. Well, for a long time and still, some people know this, I struggled with a lot of social anxiety. I would be in situations where I would, go to an event, or even if I would go to the like Meijer and I would run into someone I would know, I would feel myself having like a mini panic attack where I'd just like freeze up. And I would say that, and I could feel myself. It's one of those things where you could feel yourself getting red, and you're like, oh, I'm getting red, and then it makes you like more red. I was that type of social anxiety where I just was like, well, I don't even want to see people turning red, so I'm just gonna avoid contact at all costs. Like down the other aisle. So I would say that through developing the 517 living platforms, my social anxiety has definitely gotten a lot better. I mean, I have very little social anxiety like I used to. Hey, honey, that's kind of loud. The other than that, let's see.
So
So healing
would you
from that. Yeah. What?
I'm sorry. Would you say that kind of by developing the 517 living, it kind of forced you into this position where you had to step out of your comfort zone to kind of face that the anxiety up front?
Yeah, it was kind of like systematic desensitization, because it's like, when I first started doing the event calendar and stuff, and I was like, oh, I gotta go to some events. At first it was kind of hard for me, very hard for me, and I would kind of just sit in the corner and leave as soon as I could. And I'm still like that sometimes, but yeah, I'm much more likely now to actually instigate conversation. I actually feel enjoyment and comfortable, and I can actually relax a little bit and be present. But a lot of, and this is a good reason. I'm glad you brought that up, because anybody who's ever does see me out at an event, if I'm coming across as a bitch or like unfriendly or whatever, I probably just am feeling a little anxious. And I think another thing is, sometimes I will see someone I recognize, but I don't want to assume that they recognize me. That's probably like some type of inferiority issue on my part, where I like, well, I'm not going to say hi to them because they probably don't even remember me type thing. So that's something I should probably get over. I'm trying to straighten this out a little bit. Hold on. But so I've gotten a lot better at that. I used to do a lot of the Irish goodbyes type thing. Is that what they call them? Where you're like at an event and like you don't say bye to anybody when you leave. You just kind of disappear, and they're like, "Where did Sarah go?" And it was because it's like
You did that to me at the 517 community night last year.
Oh, really? Well,
Like,
that's
hey,
different.
you should meet David, and then you would just disappear.
That's a little different. That was more me having my brain split into 100 different categories of the day. But yeah, similar concept. But with this, it would be more like, I don't feel like dealing with saying goodbye to everybody, so I'm just going to leave tipping. Anyway, so that's gotten a lot better. I also used to have a lot of anxiety about doing podcast type thing, anything live or being on camera, and now I do a segment with WILX every week. And so that's another thing where I systematically kind of desensitized myself to it. Where the first time I was on camera, I think when I was on the news, I think it was for 517 Living Community Week or something like that. And I just remember thinking, I'm going to have a panic attack on air. I can't do this. And it was fine. And I was like, okay, I survived that. And then next time I did it, it was a little bit easier, and so on and so forth. So that's one thing.
It's crazy because doing a podcast, you would think that I would feel comfortable like just sitting here talking to people, but every time we go live, which isn't very often, but anytime I go live, and it could be on my podcast or on somebody else's podcast, I get so much anxiety. And I'm like, I don't even know why. And I think it has something to do with like just the public perception in that moment. Like, you know that people will currently be judging you while you're talking. And whereas like if you record an episode and you just upload it later, you just kind of forget about it and move on and go about your day.
Right. You don't have to actively. I get what you mean. But if you were to do all of your podcasts live, you would slowly like not feel that anxiety about it because it's as you get used to it. You could probably even feel right now in this moment that you feel less anxious than you did at the beginning because you're like, okay, I've been doing this for like an hour, like all that. So
well, a lot of it also has to do with the person that you're talking to. Like, you are an extremely easy person to talk to. You're engaging. You have a lot to say always, and that makes it. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that
I know.
You have things to talk about, and some people don't have things to talk about, and that makes it difficult.
That would be
because
hard.
Then now
that would be really hard doing a podcast.
Pull that out of them.
Yeah, that would be hard. You froze up a little bit. I lost you.
Oh, am I back yet?
Nope, you're still a little frozen.
So are you. Why is this?
Am I making a weird face?
Yes. It's while I'm like mid talking. So it's weird because we can hear each other, but we're frozen.
Should we give it a minute or should we just close out? Do you think that it's an internet issue?
I think so, yeah.
I wonder if that was what was going on last time, was a router thing.
Well, we weren't live last time. So this is what I think what happened last time. I don't recently haven't had my brother helping me with the audio or with the video, I mean.
Okay.
And so he helped me in that episode, and I moved the computer. And when I moved the computer, I think the audio got unplugged from the computer. And so the other day when I went to go edit and everything, I'm like, what's going on? And I look at it and I'm like, no.
I don't believe in mistakes. I'm like, well, for whatever reason, that wasn't meant to be out there.
Well, at least we won't get canceled.
So I wonder what the viewers can see. Did they see both of our faces frozen, or just your face frozen, or just my face frozen? And can they hear it?
I can let you know in a second.
Oh, can you go look at it? Oh, I could go look at it too, actually. Let's see. Oh, I just opened it up on YouTube and it started from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, mine too.
I'll leave it up to you.
Well, I mean, we can wrap this up.
Okay.
For some reason, it's not going back. So, if somebody, well, I'm not going to give anybody ideas. Somebody screenshots my frozen face and uses it for anything, I'm suing. I'm just kidding. It'd be a great. Wait, can you talk right now?
Can I talk right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at the live video and I'm.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone out there. You want me to keep talking? I could talk about.
So you're good. You're good. I'm frozen. That's interesting.
Well, at least it's a good frozen. It looks like a profile picture or something. It works.
Okay, I think we should probably wrap this up because there we go.
Came back.
I'm back. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap this up. We're like an hour in.
Okay.
So real quick, the 517 Living Community Week is this week. Anybody can sign up all week long, even up to the last day, correct?
Yes.
And how do you do so?
All of the information is at 517week.com. That'll go to like the informational page. But if anyone wants to look at the event lineup, it's just at 517living.com. And it's right on the homepage.
Okay, awesome. And there's a Facebook page as well, correct? An event page?
Yeah, it's just like a basic Facebook page, just so I had that platform covered, and you can RSVP on there, invite friends to it, and it has the information on there. But I'm using the hashtag on a lot of my content of just 517 week, just because it's a short hashtag. And so if you click on that in social media platforms, you'll come to content too.
Okay, awesome. And then the link to that Facebook page or event is in the comments on this video. So
perfect.
Or not comments.
Well, thanks for taking the time to highlight this. I'm sure this will help get the word out to some people who probably didn't know about it. So thank you. Sorry.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Probably coughing in the back. We're healthy, I promise. I'm out in the community at events with my coughing kit. No, she's fine. I think she's choking on nothing life threatening. Nothing, she's choking. No, what are you choking on? Juice? Yeah, she just shrugged at me. She doesn't care. I think she's just drinking juice. Anyway, on that note, good professional ending. Thank you for the invite on this.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks again for doing this. And again, thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure. I love talking to you. And we need to do podcasts more often that doesn't involve just the 517 because we talk about so much. I have such a good time talking to you.
Yeah. Likewise. It's good to talk with someone who, has a genuine curiosity for things. So keep going. And if you ever are needing an interesting guest, I know of some people who I think would be good guests for your show.
Send them my way. I'm always accepting guests. So
sounds good. We'll talk to you later then.
All right. See you, Sarah.
Bye.